Hey there, agency owners. Have you ever found yourself riding the roller coaster of feast or famine in your business? You know, 1 minute you're swamped with work and the next you're scrambling to find new clients. But what if I told you there was a way to break free from this cycle and recession-proof your agency, ensuring a steady flow of clients, revenue, even during these challenging economic times? In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into the strategies that can help you weather any economic storm and keep your agency thriving no matter what the market conditions are. We'll explore practical tips and insights based on agencies who have successfully navigated through recessions and tough times, and I'll share actionable advice that you can implement right away to future-proof your business. Imagine running an agency that's not just surviving but thriving regardless of the economic climate. Imagine having time and space to focus on growing your business without constantly being pulled into client work. So if you're ready to take control of your agency's future and recession-proof your business, then you won't want to miss this episode. So grab a pen and paper and your beverage of choice, because we'll be sharing some invaluable insights and practical strategies that you can start implementing right away. So let's get started.
Accelerate your agency's profitable growth with tools, tips, and value-added interviews with your host, agency owner and coach, Rob DaCosta.
Hey everyone, I hope you are having a great week. Now, before we dive into the strategies to recession-proof your agency, it's important to understand the feast or famine cycle and why it's so detrimental to the long-term health and sustainability of your agency. The feast or famine cycle is a pattern that many agencies find themselves trapped in, and I'm sure you are aware of this. It goes like this. 1 month you're swamped with work, burning the midnight oil to meet client demands and deadlines. Your team is stretched thin and you're even considering hiring additional help just to keep up with the workload. But then, just as quickly as the work piled up, it suddenly dries up. Projects wrap up, clients go quiet, your pipeline starts looking alarmingly empty. You find yourself scrambling to bring in new business, often discounting work or taking the wrong kind of client on, which is a whole other story, whilst also trying to keep your existing team billable and productive so that you can just pay all the bills. The cyclical pattern of extreme highs and lows can have serious consequences for your agency. During those feast periods, you risk burning out your team, sacrificing quality work, and potentially damaging client relationships due to the overwhelming workload. And on the other hand, during famine periods, cash flow can be a major issue, making it difficult to keep your team intact, let alone invest in growth initiatives like marketing and business development. Worse still, this cycle can create a vicious loop where you're so focused on servicing clients during those busy times that you neglect business development efforts, leading to the inevitable famine when projects wrap up. Look, I've seen agencies getting trapped in this cycle time and time again, and it's a major contributor to the high failure rate in our industry and also burnout. In fact, studies have shown that agencies that experience extreme fluctuations in workload and revenue are far more likely to struggle with profitability and, of course, long-term sustainability. So why does this happen? Well, there are several reasons. It could be due to a lack of consistent marketing, relying too heavily on a few big clients, or word of mouth and referrals, or just not having a robust sales pipeline. But whatever the cause, the impact on the agency is significant. It can lead to cash flow problems, stress, and burnout. And not to mention, it will hinder your agency's growth and stability and delivering that plan that hopefully you've got. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. The feast or famine cycle is not an inevitable part of running an agency. With the right strategies and mindset, you can break free from this cycle and create a more stable, profitable business. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this episode. So, how do you break free from this cycle and achieve a more consistent, predictable flow of work and revenue? Well, I'm going to answer that by sharing some proven strategies and insights from agency owners who have successfully weathered the economic storms and maintained a steady growth even during these challenging times. This episode is sponsored by Creative Crew, a community for web designers. Creative Crew exists to help web designers succeed in business. Through industry-leading training, coaching, and focused content on the business of design, they enhance skills, enrich networks, and harness collective wisdom for greater professional success. So go to creativecrewcommunity.com to join. Now that we understand the risks and challenges posed by the feast or famine cycle, let's dive into some practical strategies that can help you achieve a more consistent, predictable flow of work and revenue for your agency to help avoid that feast or famine cycle. These are tried and tested methods that can help you create a more stable, predictable agency, just like they've helped many of the agencies that I work with in my group coaching program, the Self-Running Agency. First, let's talk about diversifying your client base. It's crucial to not rely too heavily on one or two clients. You've probably heard of the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your income comes from 20% of your clients. Well, first of all, it's great having those big clients, but what if one of them leaves? It can have a significant hole in your revenue, and it can be through no fault of your own. So aim for a balanced client portfolio to weather any unexpected client losses, and make sure you're mitigating those risks against one or two big clients. In addition to diversifying your client base, you can also consider expanding your service offering. This can help you weather fluctuations in demand. However, a word of caution here: don't dilute your niche or what makes you unique. It's all about finding that right balance between diversification and specialization. Next, we need to focus on making sure that we have a consistent marketing and business development process in place. It's absolutely essential to protect some of your time for business development, even in busy periods. That's probably the most important bit of advice I can give you today. When it's all hands to the deck, when you're stuck on the client service hamster wheel of doom, you still need to protect time to work on business development. Your future self will thank your present self. And this is where many agency owners fall short. When they're busy, they stop prospecting. Then, of course, work dries up and they're back to square one and back in this repeating cycle. So make business development a regular part of your schedule, no matter how busy you are. I know that's easier said than done, but it is absolutely possible to get some good boundaries in place and protect some of your time. Make sure you're leveraging partnerships and referrals and networking, and these can be powerful tools for generating new business. And don't forget about maintaining a strong online presence and having a consistent content marketing strategy. These are long-term investments that will pay handsomely. Remember that all the best robust business development strategies deliver in the medium to long term, but you need to get started today to get to that medium or long term result. And as I said, it's easy for that to go by the wayside when you're really busy. Finally, let's talk about building a financial buffer. It's really important to maintain cash reserves for those leaner times. This can provide you with the peace of mind and the financial stability to navigate through quieter periods without panicking and making bad decisions. It's all about having a safety net that allows you to make decisions from a place of security rather than from a place of desperation. Now, building a financial buffer doesn't happen overnight. It requires careful financial management and sometimes implementing cost-cutting measures when necessary. But remember, it's not about slashing costs recklessly, but making strategic decisions that protect the health and longevity of your agency. So there you have it: diversifying your client base, consistent marketing and business development, protecting your time, and building a financial buffer are three key strategies to avoid feast or famine. And by implementing these strategies, you can help create a more stable, profitable agency that's equipped to weather the ups and downs of business and those challenging economic times like we're in right now. I just want to spend a few moments going back on what I just said, which is all about protecting some of your time for business development, because I know that this is something many agency owners struggle with, especially during those busy periods. But here's the thing: if you want to create a stable, profitable agency, you need to make business development an absolute priority, regardless of how busy you are. So how can we do this? Well, it all comes down to effective time management and prioritization, and there are several strategies that can help you with this. First of all, delegation and outsourcing. If you're spending too much time on tasks that could be handled by others, then you need to delegate them. This will free up your time to focus on those higher value business development activities. And remember, delegation isn't about abdication. It's about empowering your team and allowing them to grow and develop. Next, automating processes and leveraging technology. There are many productivity and time management tools available today that can help you stay organized and focused. From project management tools to CRM to some AI tools, these can help you save a significant amount of time. And I wish they'd been around when I was running my agency, when the best technology we had was a spreadsheet. And finally, saying no to low priority tasks and clients. Now, I know this can be a tough one, especially when you're starting out. And of course, we all believe we can do things better, faster, quicker than everybody else. But remember, not all clients are created equally. Some clients can drain your time and resources, leaving you little to show for it. And of course, those are the unprofitable ones. So be really selective about who you work with and what tasks you take on. Now, you might be wondering what happens if you neglect business development, or perhaps you have neglected business development. So you can answer this question for me, because the consequences can be severe. Your pipeline will dry up, which will lead to the cyclical revenue patterns and financial instability. And once you fall into this cycle, it can be really tough to break free. You might find yourself scrambling for new clients, taking on the wrong kind of client, discounting your work just to fill your order book. And of course, this will lead to stress and burnout. And in the long run, it will hinder your agency's growth, stability, and profitability. Protecting time for business development isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute must have. You need to see this as your top priority, not something that can easily be let go of when clients are demanding. By delegating, outsourcing, and automating processes and learning to say no to low priority tasks and clients, you can free up your time to focus on business development. And in doing so, you can create a more stable, profitable agency that's equipped to weather the ups and downs of business. Now, a big part of this is getting your mindset right, because if you believe you are the only person that can do something, or you can't afford to outsource, or it's quicker to do it yourself, then of course you're never going to let go. But you need to really develop an entrepreneurial mindset rather than a freelancer mindset. Now, I'd like to share a real life example of an agency owner I worked with who was facing the feast or famine cycle. Let's call him John. John ran a successful digital marketing agency with a team of 5, but he was constantly riding the roller coaster of busy periods followed by quiet ones. It was causing him tons of stress and impacting the stability of the agency. He was really embedded in client service and knew that he needed to step out of it, but didn't really know how to. So we worked together to implement the strategies we've discussed in this episode. Firstly, we looked at his client portfolio, and John realised that he was over-reliant on a couple of big clients, so he started actively seeking out new clients to balance his portfolio. It wasn't easy and it took time, but because he had a proactive business development strategy, it paid off. And today he has a diverse range of clients that provide a steady stream of income. So we then focused on a consistent marketing and business development strategy and plan, and John admitted that he often neglected this area when he was busy, and up until now he had built his agency using referrals and word of mouth. So we worked on strategies to protect time for business development even during those busy periods. And this included getting work off his plate, automating some of the tasks, streamlining processes, and saying no more often to both low priority clients and to prospects that weren't a great fit. As a result, John was able to maintain a healthy pipeline of potential clients even during busy periods. Finally, we worked on building a financial buffer. John started setting aside a portion of his profits each month to build up his cash reserves and hit his target of having 3 months' money in the bank. This gave him financial security to navigate those quieter periods without him panicking and making some of those shoot from the hip decisions. John's story is a testament to the power of these strategies. Today, his agency is more stable, he's grown it to 8 people, it's more profitable, and he enjoys running it. He's no longer riding that feast or famine roller coaster. Instead, he's steering a steady ship with a clear direction and mostly a calm sea ahead. The lessons that John learned along the way were invaluable, and they're the ones that I've covered in today's podcast. He learned the importance of not putting all his eggs in one basket when it comes to clients, the necessity of consistent marketing and business development and protecting time to work on that, and the peace of mind that comes with having a financial buffer. So John's advice to other agency owners is don't wait until you're in the place of famine to start implementing these strategies. Start now, even if things are going well, because it's about being proactive rather than being reactive. Well, we've covered quite a bit of ground in this episode, haven't we? So let's quickly recap the main points. We started by discussing the importance of diversifying your client base and not relying too heavily on a single client or one or two clients. We also talked about the need to expand your service offering, but without diluting your niche or what makes you unique. Next, we delved into the importance of consistent marketing and business development, even during those busy periods. We explored how to leverage partnerships, referrals, and networking, and the significance of maintaining a strong online presence and content marketing strategy. We also discussed the importance of building a financial buffer and maintaining cash reserves for those lean times and implementing cost-cutting measures when necessary. We then moved on to talk about protecting time for your business development and strategies for time management and prioritization, including delegation and outsourcing, automating processes and leveraging technology, and learning to say no more often. Now it's over to you. I encourage you to take action and implement the strategies we've discussed today, or at least take one action. What's that one thing that you're going to do differently as a result of listening to today's podcast? Remember, the key is to be proactive rather than reactive. Don't wait until you're in a famine phase to start making changes, because they're really difficult to do when you're desperate for money. So start now, even if things are going well. Okay, there you have it. So if you found this episode useful, please subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you're following us on social media for more insights and practical tips. And please do consider leaving a review, because it helps the algorithm share this podcast to more people just like you. And if you're an agency owner looking for a supportive community, consider coming along to one of our free, all value, no sales Agency Accelerator live events covering a multitude of topics, including feast or famine. And I'll put a link in the show notes to that as well. So thanks so much for tuning in today. And remember, the key to a successful, profitable agency is consistency and proactive planning. So let's get out there and start making positive changes. Until next week, keep growing, keep learning, and keep enjoying the journey of running your agency. I'll see you next Thursday for the next episode of the Agency Accelerator podcast.